is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Thursday, April 15th. I'm Tori in Green Screen Green with Brandon and Al. How you guys doing?
All right. I want tropical Skittles right now for some reason. I don't know why.
Taste the rainbow, you guys.
Right.
Taste the rainbow.
All
right.
it.
Well, we do start with an update to the Derek Chauvin trial. Closing arguments and deliberation will get underway next week. The defense rested its case this morning after Derek Chauvin invoked his Fifth Amendment rights, telling the court he will not testify in his own defense. And in case you missed what's been going on with the trial, we got your back. That's all DBL has is your back. Today was the defense's third day calling witnesses. Its main argument has been to question what really caused George Floyd's death. So yesterday, Dr. David Fowler, a former chief medical examiner in Maryland, testified. He suggested that Floyd's death was caused by a number of things, including his underlying heart disease. He also argued it could have been caused by carbon monoxide from the squad car's exhaust. But that led to this exchange with the prosecution on cross-examination. Take a look at this.
You haven't seen any data or test results that showed Mr. Floyd had a single injury from carbon monoxide. Is that true?
That is correct.
Did you see any air monitoring data that actually would give you any information as to what amount of carbon monoxide, if any, would have been in Mr. Floyd's breathing zone?
No, because it was not tested.
It was a yes or no question. You haven't seen any, have you?
I have not seen any data.
At one point, he also mentioned that he did not know if the squad car was either on or off. So what do you all think about this defense? Now, I come from a defense attorney's background, and I know that everyone's allowed a defense. And sometimes when there's no defense, it sounds sort of ridiculous. And at this point, I feel like that's where we are, where no one's really believing this. What do you guys think? Did you think maybe there's a shot someone thinks it could have been the exhaust pipe?
Brandon, what do you think?
Absolutely, yes. Now that you broke it down, I wanted Al to go first, but now that you presented that question.
You look like you had something to say. I'm like, I want to hear it.
But now that you presented the question like that, absolutely. Because, I mean, just look at the line that's been crossed when it comes to the vaccine, when it comes to politics, when it comes to Blue Lives, Black Lives Matter. So all it takes is for one person who believes that the monster should be let go and that he was doing his job to be like, you see, there was carbon monoxide all through with the you mix that with fentanyl and his blackness and all that angriness. He should have died like that, Al. You know what I'm saying?
So you see reasonable doubt in those?
No.
You don't, but you think a juror could?
A juror, I pray and hope not. But my everyday peers, the people that we live with on this earth, absolutely, I see that. But it's just the jury we're worried about. I'm praying that they see through that because I think the prosecution did a great job of breaking through that nonsense.
I mean, you hit it on the head, and we talked about this in the reason that they would even go for a jury trial, and it's because you just need one person. I've asked people to read this article. It's probably about 3 or 4 years old now. It's in the Atlantic, and it's called What Americans Believe. And it's not partisan. It just lists like statistics of what, and there's 14% of Americans feel like the government is talking to them through the fillings in their teeth. I actually know a person that believes in lizard people. There are a lot of people that think that the Earth is inhabited and like 12% of the Earth's population are filled with 50-foot lizard people for real that walk around and are just in human skin. So if you can get one of those people, you got a shot. And so I think I understand that you have to go, even if people go, that's ridiculous and that's silly. I think a lot of things that everybody reads on the internet, they would say that's ridiculous, that's silly. But to the person writing it, they were like, this is code. This is how I live. Yeah,
and just so you guys know, I'm the daughter of a defense attorney. I'm not a defense attorney. I wanted to make that clear. But that single piece of reasonable doubt is what they're going for. And I think it's very smart of them not to have put Chauvin on the stand, because at cross-examination, I think that would have been a massacre.
And then if we get a guilty plea, they lock the monster up. To me, it's a small win. I understand with the black community and finally, the blue shield being crossed and all, but honestly, the George Floyd Justice and Police Reform Act, that's a big win to me. The way we're ending qualified immunity in 2 states since this has happened, those are big wins to me.
I think this would be a big win. I do think this has closure for a lot of people. And if it's not a win or an acquittal, I think there's going to be some problems. Yeah, I definitely do. Let us know what you guys think. Would love to know your opinion on this. All right, this next story is a little crazy. Video's gone viral on Twitter. You might have seen this, showing a robot police dog out patrolling with the cops from NYPD. It's Spot. It's a Robo dog built by Boston Dynamics. Take a look at this.
I've never seen nothing like this before in my life. Do you see this?
That's appropriate. That's an appropriate response. Like, that's really scary. I don't know what Boston Dynamics is. They've been putting videos out like this for like 8 years. I'm scared of that company. But this, they haven't made a new season in a long time, but, it reminds me of Black Mirror.
It totally reminds me of Black Mirror.
There was an episode in Black Mirror in the last full season they did called Metalhead.
Yes.
And I watched it last because everybody said it's the worst episode.
That's it.
It's in black and white. Okay. And that's what happens is there's very few people left on the earth. Correct. Because dogs that look just like this became unhinged and started killing human beings. They don't get tired. They don't, they don't have feelings. they just eliminate targets. And now we're looking at it walking out of an apartment.
All right. Wait, let me get to this. Now, in case you didn't know, I want to give you some info on this before I get your opinion. These Boston Dynamic Robo dogs are rolling out all over the place now. Now they're in Singapore, Al. They're reminding people at the park to practice social distancing by like yelling a recording out. In China, one company has a pack of them programmed to move in unison, which looks a little creepy, but then they look less creepy when they're all programmed to dance together.
That looks more creepy.
I think that's way more creepy.
That's like a dream you keep telling your psychologist you're having.
So I want to know what y'all think of this Robo dogs. I'm going to look at your comments. The fact that they're already on the job with the NYPD. They cost $74,000 a dog. And I wanted to know specifically, I think there should be more community policing so that you have a stake in the game. These are your friends, community, relatives. Having a dog with its metal and a robot to me seems going the opposite way of where we should. Am I wrong?
I'm a little worried about community policing because you still have the human element in it, and we all have certain biases. So I'm going to raise your Black Mirror because it didn't look like a Black Mirror episode to me. It looked like iRobot featuring
Will
my
Smith.
stand-in, Will Smith.
It's not your stand-in.
But yeah, he's not my stand-in. I want to be his stand-in though. All right, but because I look at it like I have no problem with this, Al. Here's the only thing. Who's coding these things?
Right.
Because when we talk about we need oversight when it comes to our own police right now, we need representation. People in that room on the boards and the committees, we need people of color or people who of marginalized communities on the board of the people
That's
who are
what I mean,
coding
community
these
policing.
dogs.
I see what you're saying. But I see what you're saying because, like, what happens if this dog does something wrong, or Robo dog? Who do you sue?
Not Ghostbusters.
The dog?
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
Oh, okay.
Who's liable?
You're $75,000, $74,000 a piece. Like, couldn't we use that money in a better way? I just look at this and I'm like, the only point it seems is to terrify the community. That would kill. My son would have a heart attack.
I know.
What is I don't get the point of that. Is it cool? A little bit. Okay, let's keep it 100. I'm like, if they were like, we're gonna send you a prototype, I'd be like, these are the best dogs.
I do love these dogs.
Forget that vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, that's my lassie. That's right. That's right. Coming up on Dbl, Golden Globe winner Dylan McDermott.
I'm here. I cannot wait.
Oh my God, he was wonderful. He's telling us all about his villainous role in the new Law and Order spinoff. Tell us if you're watching it. And should the word mistress be banned and replaced with something less offensive and more PC? We'll tell you why some journalists think so. Coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by
Millions of Americans are getting vaccinated every day, and the Verify team is here to keep you up to date on what you should and shouldn't do after you get that shot. So let's verify. How long should you wait to exercise after getting your vaccine? Our sources are Dr. William Moss, the Executive Director of the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins, Dr. William Schaffner, Professor of Infectious Diseases at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Linda Nabha, an infectious diseases expert at the University of Pittsburgh. They all say that there's no evidence that exercising after getting the shot will have an effect on your immune response. Dr. Moss telling us, quote, "One can exercise right after receiving the vaccine, and any change in blood flow will not impact the vaccine response. But what about going back to the actual gym? When are you going to be able to go back to your favorite workout spot?"
You should wait at least 2 weeks after you get your second vaccine. Then we know that your body has produced the antibodies it needs to protect you.
So we can verify that it's totally fine to work out after getting your vaccine. Just avoid the gym with other people for at least 2 weeks. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back to DBL. Big shout out to our coworkers. I saw Courtney. I saw Stu. Stu movie review.
Look at them waving to me.
There's Stu. Hi, honey. We miss you. Oh, I miss my friends. All right. What is your take on the word mistress? Take a second. Think about it. Don't jump to conclusions. Seems like we've been hearing that word for women who've been in long-term relationships with married men for years, right? Well, now the Associated Press says it's canceling the word. They tweeted out suggesting using an alternative, like companion, friend, or lover. They explained they felt that was better than having one word for a woman and none for the man, and implying that the woman was solely responsible for the affair. Well, the AP's tweet lit up social media. One person tweeted, rather than diluting words about love and friendship, perhaps an equivalent term for a man should be devised. Another tweeted, the married man does have a name, adulterer, cheater, scumbag. Someone else suggested gigolo, kept man, fancy man. I've never heard fancy man. Toy boy or cabana boy. So what do you think? Should mistress be retired? And does it imply that the woman is solely responsible, which does have a social context, right? So, gentlemen, do you think mistress has the implication and should be revised? Al?
I think it definitely has the implication
that it's her fault.
But yes, but until we change our overall paradigm of thinking that, you know, if a man has a lot of sexual air quotes conquests, he's a hero like amongst his friends, and women, if they have the exact same amount, are considered a loose woman. You know,
yeah.
So until we change that thing, calling a man a gigolo, he'll be like, thank you. Yeah. You know, so I don't know if there could be, because there's not a negative connotation with a man having a lot of partners.
It's funny he said that, because when I heard fancy boy, I was like, man, I need to put that on my license plate or something. But now it does.
Hashtag fancy boy.
Have a bad connotation.
Hashtag fancy boy.
But listen, look, because they're saying that you're, as journalists, you know, you have to say something PC. I'm not a journalist. I get paid to come up here and say what I want. So, you know, I'm not thinking of saying it as mistress or anything. I know people out there who are still going to say, you too big hussy, or for the guy, like, you ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so for the PC, I don't think people need to blow up on this enough, because unless you're a journalist or you're sitting there trying to write copy, it shouldn't affect you.
I will say this, and Tori, I want to get your opinion on this. You know, I've tried to change my thinking, because I think even when we talk about something really serious, like the number of young women that are sexually assaulted on college campuses, we say 100,000 young women were sexually assaulted on college campuses, but we don't say there's 100,000 rapists on college campuses.
Sexual assaulters.
Yes, and I think if we looked at it like that, we'd be like, because if we hear that there's one in our community, it's the lead story on the news. But because we don't phrase it like that, when it comes to certain places, we don't address it with the same urgency.
Yeah, I agree. I think mistress also is a little old-fashioned, a little antiquated, and I think that instead of just dealing with words, I think they should both just be called cheaters. That's gender norm. Okay. We're good. But I do think that every time you think of people cheating, think in your head, be discerning with yourself. Did you blame the woman? Because I promise you, even women blame the women.
I blame the man.
Well, it's rare, so good for you. So I'm asking you to do that for yourself. Check yourself for that, okay? We'll be right back with Dylan McDermott.
April 15th is here, the dreaded tax day, but this year you have some extra time to get them done. The Treasury Department and IRS announced you now have until May 17th to fill out and file your 2020 tax return. The reason? You probably guessed it, the pandemic. Simply put, we all have more things to think about when it comes to filing, such as dependent care credits, PPP loans, unemployment, and those stimulus checks. The May 17th federal deadline also applies to individual retirement account and health savings account contributions for 2020, meaning you have one more month to add to those accounts. And this isn't just for your federal return. The state of Arizona recently announced that it's moved the deadline for filing state taxes to May 17th as well. The extended deadline only includes individual tax returns. If you feel like you still need more time, consider filing for a tax extension. And that's connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. He is best known for his roles on American Horror Story and The Practice. But now Dylan McDermott is stepping into the shoes of a crime lord in Law & Order Organized Crime. Earlier, Al, Lindsay, and I caught up with Dylan in today's Chatting with the Stars. Dylan McDermott, welcome to DBL. It's so great to have you. Before we get to your new show, Law & Order Organized Crime, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic. A lot of actors took some time off, but you spent time interviewing your co-stars from your Netflix miniseries Hollywood. And we all just wanted to ask if you could pick any single person alive or dead to interview. Who would it be?
Wow.
Sorry, that was a deep question.
Alive or dead? I think the Dalai Lama. There's so much wisdom every time I hear him, so I enjoy hearing him speak.
Great answer.
Dylan, you play obviously a lot of villains, like an American Horror Story. And I wanted to ask you, what do you like about playing the bad guy? And my assumption is that the bad guy is more interesting. If you think about every kind of drama that we've ever had, Darth Vader is way more interesting than Luke Skywalker. Like his origin story, the conflict.
Is he?
That's constant. Yes, Luke Skywalker's like, let's do good. Okay, who cares? The bad guy, Walter White, is interesting because there are things pulling at you and you could kind of understand motivation. So what do you think about when you play a bad guy, and what do you think about that theory?
I have a shipment on the way. We're having a little vaccination party for family, close friends.
I don't think you're wrong. There's something about the bad guy that I've always been, attracted to, and certainly someone like Richard Wheatley. I mean, the psychology that goes into, the deep dive of what made him the way he is. And sociopaths don't have empathy, and that created the monster that is Richard Wheatley. Now, when you're playing a bad guy, you never think about what's bad. Bad guys don't think they're bad. They're just doing what they have to do. So when you're playing someone like, at least when I'm playing Richard Wheatley, I think about what's good about him. He's a great dad. He's a great family man. He loves his family. He would kill for his family. And guess what? He does.
He does.
So all that stuff I find fascinating as a viewer.
What was some of your favorite parts about playing Richard Wheatley, your character in Law & Order?
I love that I get to play such a complex character, and I'm using so much of my brain that I'm exhausted. I'm a method actor, and I go in deep on these people.
Again, they're master escape artists. I bet you wish you had that particular skill right now.
I'm enjoying the psychological aspect of playing him the most, because that keeps me interested, of course.
Christopher Maloney, I wanted to get to real quick, returns to the Law & Order family after he left SVU 10 years ago. What's he like, and did he give you advice joining the Law & Order family? And do you want to do a bump for us? Al said you wouldn't want to do it.
Yes, please answer. No, we need to set this up. I said that he would hate this, and you said that he would like it. So please do what you were going to do.
Can you do a good bump from Law & Order?
A ton.
There you go.
He doesn't like it though. Look at his face.
Yeah,
You forced him.
Okay, so that's 2 for 2 on me.
There we go. That was great. Well, what was it like working with Maloney? What was that like?
Oh, he's great. We actually went to the same acting school, so we're speaking the same language. It was really easy. He called me up before I even started, and he was very gracious and kind.
I can't wait. Thanks so much for chatting with us, Dylan. And don't forget to watch Law & Order Organized Crime every Thursday on NBC. We'll be right back.
Thanks, brother. He still didn't like it.
He did.
Absolutely.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
As more and more people get vaccinated against coronavirus, families are looking to travel. But they're running into one roadblock, a lack of rental cars. Let's connect the dots. Excited travelers looking to book post-pandemic vacations are discovering rental cars are hard to come by, and when you do, it can be pricey. According to reports, when the pandemic hit, rental car companies were hit hard. To make up the difference, they sold off cars. Now that people are heading out again, there aren't enough to go around. According to the experts, it won't be easy for rental companies to increase their supply. New cars are also in short supply as car companies deal with a semiconductor chip shortage. So now the big rental companies are trying to shuffle around their existing supply to get cars where travelers need them. Right now, that means warm weather states. So what can you do? At least one person who traveled to Hawaii posted on social media about renting a U-Haul truck when they couldn't find a rental car, but that is not recommended. If you're on a short trip, include more days in your search, which can reveal more options. Also, look beyond traditional rental car companies. Turo is for car sharing that lets owners rent out their own vehicles, kind of like Airbnb for cars.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for some sweet, sweet deals. Earlier, Steph showed me some amazing products at even better prices. Here's this week's DBL Deal Blast, presented by MorningSave.com. What do you have for us today, Stephanie?
Hey, Tori, I'm here with some great products and deals for you guys. So first up, we've got something that will help you jam out while you're on the go or while you're working out. It's the Bravo Fly Sports Burst earbuds. So these lightweight wireless Bluetooth earbuds have a 10-hour playtime and can get 1 hour playtime. Are you ready? On just a 5-minute charge.
What?
Amazing.
What is it normally?
Okay, well, normally it's as much as $40, Tori,
Yeah, that's a lot.
okay? But we've got it for only $12, saving our viewers 70%.
Viewers, we love you and you're welcome. Stephanie and I are personally giving you this amount off. That sounds awesome. I love that you can pair it with 2 devices, $12 in the bag.
Next up, I've got the perfect item to let you know your house is safe while you're away. It's the 2-pack Kangaroo Home Security Motion Sensors.
Oh.
I like this.
I do too.
So normally it's as much as $30. We've got them for $15.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Saving 50%, Tori.
That's amazing. And to be super honest with you, like there's some thefts in my area that have gotten me so worried. And just to have motion sensor go to my phone, like no busy setup, like come on, that's a no-brainer.
Next, Tori, I've got something that is a must-have in any home. It's the 8-pack California Home Goods Activated Charcoal Moisture and Odor Absorbers.
Oh.
Normally it's as much as $32, but now it's only $15, saving up to 50%. 53%.
Just stick this everywhere, guys, and you're gonna feel a lot better.
Now, Tori, don't you just hate it when you find yourself adjusting pillows in bed or the couch and you're trying to get comfortable when you just want to read your book or watch TV?
Yes.
Okay, well, you will not be doing that with the Cheer Collection's extra large backrest pillow. So normally, this is $90. We've got it for only $39, saving up to 57%.
I was like, come on, make it good.
Nice.
So head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even visit morningsave.com right on your smartphone. Steph, thank you so much, as always. Amazing. I got a great comment from Jeff, an email, not our Jeff, a different Jeff, just says, how does one die of carbon monoxide? Speaking of Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, how do you die of carbon monoxide poisoning when you can't breathe?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of holes. I mean, he's absolutely correct. But, you know, I think we all know, like, how you feel respective of this trial. And now we're just waiting to see if we have a society or not, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, you just see, I understand that defense, you're entitled to a defense. But seeing some of the stuff that was said, it's just unreal.
Weak. It's
just unreal. Yeah, it's hard to talk about sometimes.
I pray that we will hear good news. Well, goodbye to our coworkers at home. When the pandemic's over, we'll be back together soon. DBL's new every day.
Thank you.